When I was a kid, my family lived in a small town surrounded by dense woods. Our house was at the edge of the neighborhood, and our backyard stretched into the forest. My dad built me a treehouse when I was 8, and it quickly became my favorite place in the world. It was my escape, my fortress, my secret hideaway. But one summer, something happened that changed everything. It started with the whispers. I'd be up in the treehouse, reading or drawing, and I'd hear faint voices coming from the woods. At first, I thought it was just the wind or maybe kids playing nearby, but the whispers grew louder, more distinct. They sounded like they were calling my name. I'd look out the window, scanning the trees, but there was never anyone there. I told my parents about it, but they brushed it off, saying it was probably just my imagination. I wanted to believe them, but deep down, I knew something wasn't right. One night, I decided to sleep in the treehouse. It was a warm summer evening, and the idea of spending the night under the stars felt exciting. I brought a flashlight, a blanket, and my favorite stuffed animal, a worn-out bear named Mr. Snuffles. Everything was fine at first. I lay there staring up at the stars, feeling like the king of my little wooden castle. But as the hours passed, the forest grew darker and the whispers returned. This time, they weren't faint. They were clear, urgent, and coming from right outside the treehouse. I froze, clutching Mr. Snuffles tightly. The voice was low and raspy, almost like it was struggling to speak. It said my name over and over, dragging out the syllables in a way that made my skin crawl. I wanted to scream, to call for my parents, but my voice was stuck in my throat. Then I heard the ladder creak. Someone or something was climbing up. My heart pounded so hard, I thought it might burst. I grabbed the flashlight and pointed it at the opening, my hands shaking. The beam of light caught a shadowy figure just as it reached the top of the ladder. I couldn't see its face, but I could feel its presence, cold and heavy, like the air before a storm. I screamed. I screamed louder than I ever had in my life. The figure froze for a moment, then disappeared back down the ladder. I heard footsteps running toward the woods, but I didn't dare look out the window. I just sat there, trembling, until my parents came rushing out of the house. They found me curled up in a corner, tears streaming down my face. The police came and searched the woods, but they didn't find anything. No footprints, no signs of an intruder. My parents tried to convince me it was just a nightmare, but I knew what I saw. I never slept in the treehouse again. In fact, I barely went near it after that night. Years later, when I was packing to move away for college, I found Mr. Snuffles in a box of old toys. His fur was matted, and one of his eyes was missing, but he still smelled faintly of the treehouse. As I held him, I noticed something tucked under his arm, a small, folded piece of paper. My hand shook as I unfolded it. Written in shaky, childlike handwriting were the words, "I'm still here. I don't know who put that note there. I don't know if it was a prank or something far worse. But even now, as an adult, I can't shake the feeling that whatever was in the woods that night never really left. Sometimes, when I visit my parents, I'll glance out at the treehouse, and I swear I see a shadow moving in the trees. And when the wind blows just right, I can still hear the whispers,